Far Cry 3 is probably the best game to come out of the Far Cry series, and because I just went for back-to-back Doom Platinums, I thought I might as well stay in the shooter genre and go for Far Cry. And it's also nice to see Micheal Mando do his thing as Vass. Far Cry 3 is a 3 out of 10 in difficulty, taking one playthrough taking 20 hours. You can also get that number down to around 15 hours if you really want to. This game has you playing as a traveler named Jason Brody. He was on a vacation with all his friends and family and he got stranded on an island. You then wake up after being captured by a militia group. The main bad guy of the game, named Vass, meets you. He then tells you that he has killed many of your friends, and if you don't cooperate, you'll meet the same fate as they did. After Vass leaves, Grant, the guy you're stuck with, breaks out of his restraints, which is the most Far Cry plot armor I've ever seen. Afterwards, you sneak around the base. This is where you find your main equipment for the game. Then after just barely leaving the base, Vass sees you, leading to the first death of the playthrough. Then in classic Far Cry fashion, you then book it straight into the forest. After a bridge breaks, you make it into the water. This is where we get our first trophy of the playthrough, and that's for making it out of a militia base for the first time. Then you wake up and see Dennis. He was the one who saved Jason out of the water. He then takes Jason outside to show him his village. He then drops a lot of lore on the village and the islands divide between two factions. Dennis then asks you to reactivate a radio tower. These allow you to unlock landmarks throughout the game, and also new weapons. You then make your way over to a farm. This is where it first introduces you to the hunting and crafting mechanic. This is how you can upgrade Jason's hull and ammo capacity. It also shows you how to use the main skill tree throughout the game. Afterwards, you make your way back to Dennis. This is where you get a radio call on insights of a militia base nearby, and you're also told one of your friends is inside of it. Once clearing it out and claiming it as your own, you make it inside. This is where you see your friend isn't in there. This is because she escaped off the convoy truck. Afterwards, Dennis then grants you access to his tribe. After a little bit of running around, you make it to a house. This is where you meet Dr. Earnhardt. He is the main drug dealer for the militia. He's not a bad guy, he just deals with bad people, almost like how Iron Man was in the first movie. You then make it to the upstairs in Dr. Earnhardt's house. This is where you meet the first of Jason's friends that he needs to save in the game. But this person is sick and you don't have any more medicine, so you make it into a cave to try to find some special cave mushrooms. After a little bit you find some and then make it back to the house. You then make your way upstairs and meet up with Daisy, and that's where you explain to her that Grant died. And then you strike a deal with Dr. Earnhardt to make everybody that you save live underneath his house. After you're done talking with Dr. Earnhardt, you get a trophy for saving Daisy. Next you get a call from Dennis and he asks you if you can steal some intel off a ship. But while taking all the enemies out, I got a trophy. This trophy is for using your first zipline takedown. Once you take down all the enemies, you make it to the data. After listening to it, you find out that some of your friends have been sold in the black market, dividing them all up into different parts of the island. Also, while playing this chapter, I got a trophy for unlocking my first 5 skill points. You then make it back to Dennis and tell him what's happening. He then tells you that you need to destroy a militia outpost. This is because there's a main weapons vault located inside of it. You then make it to the main camp and blow it up, ensuring that the militia doesn't take over the village. Afterwards, you make it to a camp where you think one of your friends is being held. After clearing it out, you make it inside a cave. This is where you see a recording of Vass torturing one of your friends. After exploring the cave a little bit more, you get knocked out. Then you wake up and see Vass, along with your girlfriend Lisa and your other friend Oliver. Vass then explains to you that he doesn't want you stepping on his toes anymore. Vass then douses you in oil pretending he's Diddy. But unlike Diddy, he doesn't play with you, but he just leaves you to burn. Before he leaves, he also takes Oliver, making Jason and Lisa stuck in the fire. Jason then falls through the floor, escaping out of his chair. After a little bit of fighting through the fire, he makes his way back up to Lisa. Jason then frees Lisa and they make their way into a car. But while leaving, some of Vass's men catch up to you. The game gives you a grenade launcher to handle with these guys. Once all the enemies are dead, you get a trophy for saving Lisa. Afterwards, you bring Lisa to the chamber underneath Dr. Earnhardt's house. You also learn that Daisy is trying to fix up one of the boats. Some of the footage for the next couple of chapters just isn't cooperating, so I'll try to explain them as best I can. In this chapter, you have a chat with Citra. She's basically the leader of the rebels, and she is also the sister of Vass. You basically in this level get initiated into the tribe. You take some special substance and wake up fighting a demon. You then kill it and officially become a part of the tribe. And also technically you become its leader, but it's a whole different story. And in all of the same action, you wake up with Citra with her tits out, which is also a very common occurrence in this game. You're also not going to see me complaining about this. We also get a trophy for completing this chapter. Next, we get back-to-back random trophies. The first one is for completing a supply run. The other trophy is for luring and killing a predator. In the next chapter, you meet Willis. He's an undercover agent and he's trying to take down Vass and his other boss, Voight. But before going after the big guys, we start very small. You first try to intercept Voss's main source of income, this being his many fields of dope. Willis then gives you a flamethrower and you go to town, destroying all his fields and also taking out a whole lot of his men on the way. And I just gotta say, this is by far the best level in the game. It's just so fun using the flamethrower. Even though it kinda sucks at killing enemies, it's just such a fun level. And while playing this level, I got a trophy for crafting 5 different things. Once making it back to Willis, he teaches you more about Voight. Voight is Voss's boss, and we also learn that he has one of your friends. The only thing is he's located on a different island, and he's heavily guarded by his own militia. Willis then goes to ask you to rescue somebody. This is because he has intel on Voight and the friend of yours that he captured. And while scoping out the area, I got a trophy, and that's for marking 25 enemies with your camera. After making it to Rongo, you have to defend them. Once all the enemies are killed, you take a picture of the intel. After bringing it back to Willis, you find out that there's a convoy, and in that convoy is your friend Oliver. But before making it to the convoy, I got a trophy. This trophy is for getting 50 different intel points for your notebook. I don't actually have the video of me saving Oliver, but I do have the trophy video for it. You basically just sit on a hill with a sniper until you see the convoy. Once the convoy comes, you cover Oliver with snipes. This is so you can get a boat in place for you and him to get out of there. The next chapter has you going through old temples trying to find pieces to a compass. The compass reveals a location of a knife. The reason why you're trying to find this knife is because this guy named Buck has one of your friends captured. This mission basically has you go through 3 different places, that being a temple, a mine shaft, and also a boat. I'm gonna skip most of it because it's kinda useless, but while doing the missions I got 2 trophies. The first trophy is for buying every single attachment and camos for a certain weapon, and the other one's for unlocking your first 8 radio towers. Once finding the knife, you then bring it back to Buck. Just the only thing is Buck had a trick up his sleeve. Once going downstairs and seeing Keith, he doesn't let you leave, leading you and Buck to have an old-fashioned knife fight. But once after defeating Buck, you get a trophy for saving Keith. Once bringing Keith back to the cave, he then tells you that another one of your friends named Riley has died. Then after you leave the cave, you meet up back with Citra. This is so you can give them the knife that Buck wanted. Citra then teaches you about the lore about the knife. You learned that this knife killed the main monster that you saw in the beginning of the game, and that the head of the monster sprouted the island, basically making the person who bears it the leader. And while leaving, Dennis tells you that there's a convoy of prisoners. You then make it there and help them by sniping enemies from afar. This is where one of the convoy trucks get away. You then make it to a convoy truck, and once you open it, you see Vass. He then knocks you out and gives you one of the most iconic speeches in video game history.
Insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
After the speech is done, Vass kicks you down into the water. You then break out your bindings and make it back up to the surface. Afterwards, you see Voss's camp. You then take out all of the militia and make your way to Vass. I won't have the next fair bit of the story because my PlayStation just doesn't like me. You see Vass and he shoots you straight into your chest. Afterwards, you wake up and look at yourself. Instead of taking the bullet straight to your chest, it took it into your lighter. Afterwards, you get a trophy for surviving death. In the next mission, you make it to Voss's main compound. This is where you play a nice game of hide and seek with Vass for a little bit until you kill him, which kinda sucks cause he's the best part of the game, but once you kill him you get a trophy for finishing this mission. After killing Vass, you get a phone call from Willis. He needs help hijacking a plane. The reason why he wants to hijack a plane is because he wants to leave the island. He also offers you to bring you to the other island. The reason why Jason wants to go there is because on the other island is Voight. Willis also gives you some intel on a person on the other side. There's an undercover agent named Sam who's working for Voight. You also get a trophy for reaching the other island. After reaching ground level, you make your way to Sam, but first you need to find out who he is. And while playing a game of poker, you sing the code word, and this code word is just the United States national anthem. Once you and Sam make it outside, he explains to you that everybody knows what you look like, not from your face, but from your tribe markings on your arm. So to cover them up, you try to find a militia armor suit. This leads you into the barracks. That's where you incapacitate the enemy and then take his look. Before you leave, you see Voight is holding a conference, and here he explains that whoever finds and kills Jason Brody will get a massive cash bonus. Afterwards, you leave the lagoon and make your way back up to Sam. Sam then tells you that there's a meeting with some of the officers. The reason why this is important is because they have a thing called a roll sheet. You need this roll sheet because it shows you the location of Voight and his prisoners. And while doing this mission, I got a trophy for killing 4 enemies with a single explosive. After blowing them up, you make your way to the river below. You get the roll sheet and make your way back to Sam. Once making it to Sam, he takes you to Voight. Once talking to him, you give him the roll sheet, and you explain to him that every single name on the sheet is a traitor. Voight now thinks very highly of you, so he wants you to do an interrogation for him. You and Sam then make your way downstairs into the basement. Once getting into the interrogation room, you realize that the person you are interrogating is your brother Riley, and since Voight is watching you through the security cameras, you just beat the piss out of him. Jason pretends he's BJ Penn and starts going all schizo mode on him. All I know is the family dinner on Sunday might look a little bit different. Once getting out of the interrogation room, Voight then comes over to you and invites you to a nice game of poker. And also, since Voight is just such a nice guy, he also invites Sam with you. We then get a trophy for finishing this mission. And I also got a trophy for crafting 25 syringes. Before you and Sam go play a nice game of poker, you have to destroy a radio tower. The reason why you're doing this is because once you shut down the radio tower, there won't be any comms between any of Voight's men. Once breaking up the radio tower, you then escape through a chopper, blowing it up while making your escape. Now it's time for your fun family game night with Voight. After finishing the first deal, Voight then gets up and stabs Sam right through the neck, which kinda sucks because I literally would've won this deal. After Sam then tragically dies, you have to play for your life. Once losing one of the deals, he then cuts off your ring finger. This leads to both of them then fighting. Then after a little bit, you finally kill Voight, and you also get a trophy for doing so. Afterwards, you speed over like Marquez Brownlee to the airstrip. Once at the airstrip, you find and then save Riley. Then the both of you escape through a helicopter. After a whole lot of shooting other militia helicopters, you make it back to Dr. Earnhardt's house. Then you see Dr. Earnhardt on the floor bleeding out. He then tells you that Citra has taken all your friends to a temple, so you make your way over there. Once at the temple, you try to talk to Citra, but before you guys can talk, she drugs you. This makes Jason have a spiritual awakening. At the end of it, you claim the knife. Then Jason wakes up holding a knife to Lisa's throat. You then get the choice to save all your friends or join Citra. In my opinion, I chose the best option, and that is for saving Jason's friends. This was probably the smart idea because I could not show the other ending on this channel. If you're going to watch it, don't watch it on your living room TV. Anyways, after cutting down all your friends, Citra then confronts you. After a little bit of talking, Dennison makes his way onto the stage. He's a little pissed and then he tries to stab you, but then Citra jumps in front of you, taking the knife for you. She then dies, and then that's the end of the game. Then once after skipping through all the credits, you then get a trophy for finishing the main story. Now that the main story is complete, we have to do all the random miscellaneous trophies left in the open world. The first trophy I went for is just diving straight into the ocean until you reach 40 meters below the surface. This is for doing an outpost without tripping the alarm, doing your first 3 outposts, falling for 100 meters and surviving, spending 5k at the shop, doing your first hunting quest, and also for killing your first legendary animal. Killing an enemy with a bow from 70 meters or further, killing an enemy with the repair tool, killing 50 enemies with the flamethrower, distracting 25 different enemies with a rock, collecting all 20 different memory cards, completing all the militia hideouts, winning $1,500 on poker, collecting the 20 different lost letters, finding 60 different relics, crafting a special syringe, doing 3 wanted dead side missions, unlocking every single skill in the skill tree, and finally the last trophy is for finding the head hidden in the sand. Thank you guys for watching, hopefully you enjoyed this video and have a happy rest of your day.